I don't know about you guys, but whenever March rolls around, I get so excited for spring and pastel makeup. And I'm filming this on March 1st, so I thought let's do a little pastel, kind of light, colorful look today. So my usual kind of spring pastel palette that I like to use is the Natasha Denona Pastel palette. It is literally called the Pastel palette, and it is beautiful. But I did receive the new Oden's Eye collection that was with 3 different influencers, and there is this spring dragon palette, and this is in collaboration with Judy, and this is the like most perfect light pastel palette that I would want for spring. I love this color story. It is perfect for spring, and I'm excited to try Oden's Eye's formula in these pastel colors. But I will show you the other 2. So this is the Earthwood palette made with Fancy Face, and this color story is interesting to me. I like these kind of deeper greens in here mixed with the brighter greens. I think that's super fun. Kind of have an interesting like periwinkle purple with kind of a peachy orange. And then the last palette is the Mighty Monster palette. I believe it's with Annette's Makeup Corner. And honestly, this color story throws me off a little bit. I'm having a tricky time trying to put shades together, like this red, this blue, this orange. Like there's a lot going on in this palette, but I know that some people would love this color story. But out of the 3 palettes, the spring one is definitely calling my name. So let's zoom in and do a spring pastel makeup look. I am back to using my Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. This is a brand new one. I just bought it and used it today, and I just feel like so relieved having this one on my eyelids. I think I've gone through 2 tubes of this, and after I finished my last one, I wanted to try some other eyeshadow primers, but just nothing was comparing to this one, so I'm happy to have this one back in my life. I'm gonna start with the fluffy packing brush in this light kind of lavender shade, and I'm gonna start by packing this throughout my entire crease. And since these are really light kind of pastel colors, I know that I will have to layer them up quite a bit to get the pigment that I want. And honestly, a white base probably would have worked better for me with this kind of look, but I just don't own any white eye bases, so I'm just gonna do with what I have, going in with a second layer. And that's why I'm starting with this kind of packing brush right here, so I can really layer on this color and then blend it out. Okay, now I'm going in with a third layer of this. This color is so pretty layered up though. I love this. Okay, so now that I have that color packed down, I kind of wiped off all the extra pigment on my brush, and I'm just going to start to kind of blend around this upper crease area just to soften out this edge of the shadow. And what's nice about working with pastel colors is that they kind of blend themselves out. Like you don't really need any lighter shade to soften the edges because it's already such a light shade to begin with. Now I'm gonna take this shimmer on my finger. I am so excited for this. I don't think you can see, but it shifts very pink, but I normally love Oden's Eye's shimmers. So let's go all over the lid. Can you guys see that? Do I need to turn down this lighting? That might be a little bit better. Wow. It's a lot more pink than I thought, but honestly these shades go so beautifully together. Then I'm just gonna go back to my brush, and I like to soften the edges of the shimmer kind of right in my crease. That is so pretty. I love that. I went ahead and applied my under eye concealer, and I set that with the translucent powder. Now let's do the lower lash line. Now, if you know me, I love purple and green together, so I kind of want to try out the green shades in this palette. So I'm going to pick up this light matte green on a pencil brush, and I'm going to stamp that along my lower lash line. So just like with the pastel purple, I'm sure I'm going to have to layer up this shadow a few times to get the pigment that I want. And a third layer. So about 3 layers of these pastel shadows kind of gives me the pigment that I want. Again, I have no problem with layering up my shades if they're going to stay like this and blend really nicely. Then again, once most of the product is off my brush, I'm just going to kind of soften out the edges of the shadow. Now I really want to try this green shimmer, so I'm going to pick this one up. I did spray my brush with a little bit of setting spray and then picked up the shadow. Now I want to try this in my inner corner. That is really pretty. And this is kind of another fun trick you can do with these pastel shadows if you don't want to do like a full pastel look like this, is kind of do maybe like a neutral brown in the crease, and then for the inner corner do a light pop of color right there. Now on my pencil brush, I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and I'm going to apply that on the outer part of my lower lash line on top of that green, and that's going to kind of help connect the purple to the green because I kind of view blue as like an in-between shade between green and purple, you know? In this shade, I don't have to layer up as much. That was actually really pigmented right away, but see how it kind of helps that like wrap around of the shadow. I'm gonna add a nude liner to my waterline. I'm using the Tarte Fake Awake. And I love how pigmented this nude liner is right off the bat. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to add any liner to this. I don't think I want to do a black liner because I think that would just be too harsh against these really soft shades. What I really like about this palette is that she added this deep brown shade, but it's still kind of muted, so it really does go with these pastel shades. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this on a small angled brush, and I'm going to stamp this along the outer part of my top lash line just to add some definition. Just a little bit, just like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pop on a brown mascara just because, again, I think black would be a little bit too harsh for this look, and I'm gonna use my favorite Tower 28 mascara in the brown shade Drift. I'm gonna start by giving my lashes a quick curl. I really cannot stop raving about this mascara. I love it. I know that colored mascara is kind of coming back, and I totally wish I had like a green mascara for my lower lashes, but I don't, so I'm just gonna do a light layer of this. I went ahead and finished up my mascara. I did pop a little bit of a highlighter shade right under my brow. I used Bright from my palette with Sigma, and here's what the final eye look looks like with just mascara. You guys know me, I just had to pop on a half lash, and I feel like this just really completes the entire look. And for my half lash, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes new half lash in Whisper. I've been talking a lot about this half lash recently, but I just think it is so pretty. It is nice and short, so it's not too overpowering on the eyes. I went ahead and did this eye for my short. Now let's do the base makeup together. I'm trying to get in the habit of showing you guys like my blush and my lip color, just because I know it can be really tricky to pair shades together, especially when you're wearing some different colors on your eyes. So for a look like this where I have these really soft pastel colors on my eyes, I don't want something too overwhelming for blush. I definitely don't want anything too warm. I want to keep it a little bit more on the soft kind of cool tone side. So Too Faced did send me another shade of the Cloud Crush blush. I have been loving this formula, and they sent me the shade Candy Cloud, and it's one of those really soft pink shades, and this is exactly what I would kind of want for this look. I almost thought about using one of the shades from the palette for my blush. I was looking at this Flora shade right here, or even mixing a little bit of this pink shade. Like, that's definitely a possibility, but it would just be kind of hard to get a big blush brush into this small shadow. I want to start with this shade, and this kind of has the same kind of pinky tones as that shimmer on my lid. Looking at the shade, it kind of reminds me of that like viral Dior blush, which I did try and I ended up decluttering, but so far this is much more pigmented than that blush. But this tone is kind of exactly what I wanted for this eye look. And what I love about this formula is that it has a little bit of like a blurring quality to it, so it just looks very smooth on the cheeks. Now for bronzer, I'm gonna add my Haus Labs bronzer in light level 2, mostly just to my forehead. Adding a little bit of bronzer right out here on the outer part. I also cannot stop talking about the bareMinerals highlighting blush in Rose Glow, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the top of my cheekbones, kind of right here where my under eye and blush meet, also kind of where I would highlight as well. I've learned that sometimes I bring this a little bit too far into my face, so I don't want it right here. I want it on the outer part of my cheekbones. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Sigma highlighter in Twilight. It has a little bit of a pink undertone to it. Alright, there is what the base makeup looks like. Now let's do lips. And for me, lips is always the hardest part, but I think I want something a little bit more sheer today, nothing too pigmented. I've been liking this Lawless Forget the Filler in the shade Nudie specifically. I like this product in general, but this shade is new to me. It's a really pretty pink, but I think it might have a little bit too much warmth in it. But I also have this one in Lavender Sorbet, which is like a pretty cool tone kind of lavender. Thinking that might be better. See how it just kind of goes with the eyes more? So to make it easy on myself, I'm just gonna take my foundation brush and tap over my lips. And I'm gonna try this right on top of my blank lips. And it just adds a little bit of color, but a lot of glossiness. And then I'll just take whatever lip liner I'm using. I've been using my Makeup by Mario Smoky Pink, and I'll just kind of line the center of my lips, my lower lip right here, and then my upper lip, just to give it some definition. Alright, and that is the final makeup look. I love how this turned out. I'm very impressed with the shades in this palette. Like I said, I did have to build up the pastel shades about 3 times to get the pigment that I want, but that's pretty typical with any pastel color. But this eye look is just perfect for spring. I feel like I'm ready for Easter right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.